Welcome to Back of the Room. My guest today is a very funny stand-up comedian. He's been on Comedy Central and Late Night with Seth Meyers. It's Brendan Eyre. What's up, man?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
This is great. We got a band meet and greet in the
Yeah.
next room.
I'm sure you'd rather be over there, and I kind of would too, but, you know, I'm glad we're both here doing this.
I'd honestly rather be in my hotel room and then here
Yeah.
than over there.
Okay.
So
That is the...
Yeah, so you're beating out them.
You're doing it right then, because you were at the hotel. Now you got it's going right in order.
It's
That's great.
good. Yeah.
There was a show last night. How did that go?
You know, it was typical kind of Thursday night springtime show. A little bit light but fun. It was good, man. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, Thursdays and Sundays, you never know what you're going to get, but if they're into it, you can have a good show with
they were fun, man.
A smaller crowd too. So that's great.
Absolutely.
Well, cool, man. This is just kind of our first time meeting. I think I've seen you up here before when I was just hanging out on a random weekend. You were here, but don't know much about you. Like, where are you from originally?
I'm from Cleveland originally.
Cleveland, okay.
Yeah, which is funny. I think that's part of the reason I love coming to St. Louis so much. They're similar cities. Like they're like big enough that they have everything that a city has, but it's not like overwhelmed. You know, it's
okay.
It's not. And the people are nice. People are nice in St. Louis. People are nice in Cleveland. So yeah.
That's
I
cool.
I grew up on the east side of Cleveland.
Okay. I've never been to Cleveland, but I do see the similarities.
Yeah.
Both kind of catch a bad rap.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
yeah,
they're probably
we're always
similar in
defending
size.
ourselves.
Yeah. So that's cool, man.
Yeah,
and then did you start doing comedy in Cleveland?
I did, but not for long, man.
Okay.
Because I started late. I was probably writing stand-up jokes from the time I was like 14 years old.
Wow.
Because I love stand-up. But I had, and still sometimes have, like horrible, horrible stage fright. So I just never did it. Like, I was never a theater kid, none of that. Like, I'd never done anything like that. And eventually I just, like, hated bullshit office jobs so much that I was like, oh, I don't care what happens. I'm going to try stand-up. And so I tried in Cleveland. I did it kind of like, essentially like a bringer show at the Cleveland Improv. And it went well, and then I did it, just open mics and stuff for not very long in Cleveland, and I knew I was like a bit late in the game, like because I was 28, so I just was like, all right, I love this, I'm moving to New York. So I did like 6 months in Cleveland, so I really kind of started in New York.
Yeah, well, you kind of went all in right off the jump. I hear you, man. I was kind of the same way. It was like I think I started when I was 26.
Yeah.
So, and that felt a little late too, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, looking back, you're like, why didn't I try at 21 or 22? But
yeah,
I started writing jokes in college, and it was kind of the same story as you. I was really shy and introverted, didn't think I could do it or, build up enough courage to do it. And I finally came up here and did it.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, it is, I mean, certainly you see some of the young kids, especially in New York, like, I remember Pete Davidson, like, coming up to the comic strip when he was, like, 17, and, like, so you see kids start really young, but, and Pete's kind of an exception, I guess, but, like, the flip side to that is, like, a lot of them don't have shit to talk about. Once you're a little older, it's like you've paid bills, you've been through fucking relationships, life has happened to you.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit more frame of reference to talk about on stage than like a 20-year-old who's just kind of like, what's up with grades?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be a hindrance for sure. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess everybody kind of starts when they start.
When they start, yeah.
People started way later than mid-20s or whatever, too. So, yeah, man, that's cool. I went to New York for the first time like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And checked it out. And it was overwhelming just being from here. Like, I've been to other cities and stuff, but first, it takes a while to get your bearings and
For
figure
sure, man.
out the comedy stuff. I tried to do some mics and some stuff, and it was cool. But it seems also tough to kind of. Was it tough to start there in a way, or be that
man.
new?
I mean, well, here's the thing. In a way, it's a blessing to kind of go there really early on.
You can go up a lot.
Yeah, you go up a lot, but the hard part about New York for guys that maybe like get established as like a road feature or like kind of 3-4 years in doing well and then move to New York, you kind of start at the bottom anyway. Like your back kicked down to the bottom anyway.
Yeah.
And so the fact that I was already at the bottom, like I wasn't working or anything after my 6 months in Cleveland. So it was kind of a blessing to like start there, because you basically, unless you like are kind of known and have worked with some heavier guys in New York, you're basically kicked down to the bottom of the pack anyway when you get there. So, but yeah, dude, figuring it out is a bitch, because, I do think, the cream of the crop go to New York, especially back then. Now there's a few more scenes popping off, but still, I think the cream of the crop go to New York to make it. But I think the misconception a lot of people have is like everyone's good in New York. And the truth is there's way more good guys in New York than most scenes. But there's also way more bad guys, because there's just way more of everything.
More people,
so like you kind of have to it takes a little bit to figure out like, oh, this mic actually sucks, don't go there, like here's where the good people, it takes a while to figure out like how to navigate where you want to be in that city.
Yeah, that's kind of how I found it too. I mean, I was only there for a week or whatever, but and I don't know if this was how it was when you were there, but all the mics you got to pay $5, and there's nobody really to watch.
Yeah,
it's other comics, and I was like, all right, whatever. And it makes sense that a big city like that, and there's that many clubs and showcases, they're probably going to go to that.
Right.
The mainstream audience is going to go to that. So.
Well, and I would, so first of all, in New York, it's almost exclusively mics that only have comedians there. And my general advice to people figuring it out is, if the rule is you have to buy a drink to do the mic, that's fine. But if they just want you to pay to do the mic, don't do that mic. Those are usually the scammer. Those are usually like, there's a couple like production companies that run mics where it's like $5 per mic, and they also want you. Those guys are fucking running scams. Like, it's like, look, if you want me to buy a drink, I get it, because the bar's open for nobody except comedians. And comedians, if you don't make them, they're not gonna buy a drink. They're cheap. So, I get having a one drink thing, but the paying just for the stage time, I always recommend guys like, dude, avoid those ones.
Yeah, I was not a fan of it. We got into town, and like 4:30, there was some mic, and it was $5, and at 4:30, there was few people standing outside, and the guy showed up, walked down to this basement. He's like, all right, it's $5, and everybody paid, and there was like 4 dudes there. I was like, okay.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot of hustles happening in New York. And then there's a lot of like, man, and I understood this after I'd been there for a while, because so many people just come in and out of that scene. Like, so many people. And so you don't really know who's serious. And like, what I didn't realize, like, so the first mic I ever went to, I remember it like it was fucking yesterday, because of how like devastating it was. Like, I had my best 3 minutes from Cleveland, and like, I was good for being a new guy. Like, I was bad. Everyone's bad when they're that early in, but like, I knew enough to know like I was good for 6 months in. Like, I did know that. But dude, I just did like my best 3 minutes to fucking silence. And I remember it was a rainy day in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and I just walked out of that bar like, what the fuck have I done? Like, I uprooted my life And what it took me a little bit to realize is because it's all comics there, and because so many people come in and out of that scene, they kind of until they kind of know, like, okay, this guy's hanging around and this guy's working at it, they don't fucking pay attention to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I didn't realize that at the time. I just thought, like, oh, I suck. But it's like, no, they're not like deliberately trying to ice you out. It's more just they're not paying attention because there's 10 new guys at every fucking mic.
Yeah.
You're just like, if you sit there and sit through everyone listening intently, you're just burned out. So until you kind of like have established yourself as like a guy that's around and you're working at it, they kind of hold back on you,
Mm-hmm.
which is, it's rough, but it does like drive you, because like I had that moment of feeling sorry for myself, and then I was like, fuck, I better be better tomorrow, like I better step it up tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite a start, man. Did you stick around New York? Are you still in New York? Or
No, I'm not in New York any longer. I was in New York for 12 years.
Okay.
And I always knew it would never be like my house forever, my home forever. So you guys can't hear it on the mic. There's literally a band fucking doing their meet and
Sounds
greet in
like
the
Tim
next room.
Convey.
Yeah, it's Tim Convey.
Shout out to Tim Convey, former podcast guest.
I always knew, like, New York, I didn't want to live in New York
Yeah.
forever. Like, it was great for comedy. Not that I'm any great shakes, but like every credit I have is because I was in New York and in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I kind of tell guys. It's a little different now because you can utilize social media to kind of bust out, but like there's just coincidences that happen in New York or LA or potentially, if it's your style, Austin now, that like they're just not going to happen in like Cleveland or St. Louis. Like it's just not the same, like everything I got was because I was in New York and kind of got in front of the right people by accident, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, more people. I'm in the business, looking at showcases and putting stuff together and all that. So that makes sense for sure.
Like my first TV thing was Late Night with Seth Meyers, and it just wouldn't have happened if I wasn't in New York because Colin Jost, SNL was off or whatever for the season. He was doing some stand-up stuff. He needed an opener. I can't remember if he saw me somewhere or if one of his friends suggested me. I can't remember. But I opened for him for some gigs, and he's fucking the nicest guy, dude. So nice. And we were at Laugh Boston after a show, sitting at the bar, and he was like, "Hey, have you ever done a late night spot?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Dude, your jokes are right for that." He was like, "Do you want any help trying to do that?" And I thought he meant like advice or like guidance. And I was like, "Yeah, that would be great." And he just pulled out his phone and texted Seth Meyers, and I was on the show the next week.
Wow.
No one saw a tape, nothing, because they were both head writers at SNL, and they were close, and like Colin's word was good enough, and like I never had send a tape for notes, nothing. Like I was just on the show.
That's
and
awesome.
It was like a crazy thing where it's like, yeah, that just wasn't going to happen in Cleveland, like it wouldn't have.
Yeah, you're not bumping elbows with
Yeah.
Colin Jost in Cleveland for him.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. What's your writing process like?
Now it's shit because I'm a single dad, I co-parent, and I got a 4-year-old, and so I don't write nearly as enough as I should. I right now most of my writing happens on the road, before my daughter, I had the luxury of like my writing process was basically go to a coffee shop every morning, shoot off a couple like business side of things, whether it's answering emails, like, you know, putting up dates on the website, whatever it is. And then I would just put a timer on my phone for an hour and a half. I find for me, like, and I know some guys that just can write stand up all day, like they're a novelist or something. I can't do that. Like an hour and a half was even stretching it for me. Like, but I would put a timer on my phone for an hour and a half, and I would just write, and that was my process. And now with my daughter, I kind of do that same thing, but only when I'm on the road, because it's like the way our co-parenting situation works out. If I'm not on the road, a 4-year-old lives with me, and she's up, when she's up, like, she's raring to go. So she's not quite old enough where I could be like, all right, I'm going to do my writing, you go play,
Yeah.
So right now I'm not being as productive as I used to be, and for me that's okay. Like, I love being a dad. That's my priority. I'm still coming up with new shit. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I think once she's like starts being in school and stuff, it'll be a little bit back to the like set aside every single day, right? And I'm a pen and paper guy.
Okay.
I'm not great at writing on stage. Like, I'm just a old school notebook, pen and paper, bang it out. And I'll do like during the day, I'll just like if there's something that I think of or I see or I experience, I'll just jot it down in my phone to write about. I also, this is weird, and I know other comics that are like this.
I do that a lot, but
Yeah.
like just jotting it on the
Yeah.
phone. But yeah.
I also cannot write like afternoon. Like, I'm a morning, like,
Okay.
I'm cooked, like, for whatever reason, like, and I don't know if it's just I got it in my head or whatever, but I'm a morning writer.
Yeah, I mean, I usually ask everybody that, and nobody says the same thing. Like, I do this, I do that. I write in the morning, right? It's just you got to do whatever
Yeah.
works for you, you know. But that's cool, man. Any like comedy advice you got that you kind of held on to from anybody?
Comedy advice. I mean, there's real. I don't know who listens to your podcast, but like, there's real basic shit that some guys don't learn. Like, real basic shit. Like, and I was lucky enough that like guys told me it, and it's like not necessarily intuitive. Like if you take, this is such a silly one, and it's so fucking
Those are
helpful.
good to know too.
If you take the mic out of the mic stand, move the mic stand out of the way. And like, guys don't do that, and it's such a silly psychological thing, but even though it's not blocking you, it's so skinny, the audience will focus on the mic stand, like, it's a weird little thing. And then I get because I'm not famous and I'm not a draw, so like, if that's a situation you're in, like, once you're a draw, be a fucking diva. Do whatever you want. Like, then once you're selling tickets based on your name, do whatever you want. But like, I work my career is very dependent on being a professional, showing up on time, not being a problem, not causing any undue stress to the club, like, basically being easy to work with, because I'm not a draw. So it's like, look, they can put another guy in instead of me, so, those things of like, just don't be a fucking dick.
Yeah.
Like,
That's good advice for sure.
And it's like, look, man, once you're famous, still probably don't be a dick. But once you're famous, you can be a dick and you'll still work. But if you're not famous, if you're a dick, they're just gonna get a different guy. You
Yeah.
know, like we are expendable. You know, like and knowing that is helpful. I don't know. I opened for Greg Warren, great St. Louis guy, for
Yeah.
a long time, and he was always super helpful with advice, and you know, he always would give me a hard time because some of it I was good about taking, some of it I wasn't great about taking, but like knowing your time, you know, that's a big thing, like, because man, they're great about it here at the Westport Funny Bone, but dude, a lot of clubs, the guy who's gonna light you is just like the stoned 17-year-old
Yeah.
fucking sound guy. Like, he may forget.
Yeah.
He may.
Didn't start the timer. You
Yeah,
just
all
never
that
know,
shit.
Yeah.
So it's like just kind of at least having a rough idea of your time is huge. I never go on stage without a watch because I want to know exactly, you know. But
Yeah.
like that kind of just basic shit is important. And then, you know, you got to get up as much as possible. That's a thing I see where guys think they're going to do comedy once a week and like break through, and it's like you kind of got to think of it like it's like any other art form, right? Like you just can't start comedy when you're a kid, but like if your goal is to be a professional violinist, well, you practice the violin every day.
Yeah.
You know, and so the same goes for comedy. And sometimes, depending on where you are, you might not be able to do it every day, but you should do it as much as you possibly can. And if you're not doing that, odds are you're kind of not gonna move up because there's someone else doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all good advice, man. We got to take a quick break. Be
All right.
right back. Don't be a dick. Be right back with more Brendan Eyre, everybody. What's up, everybody? Been thinking about it for a long time, and I think I'm finally going to do it.
A few moments later.
They said there was nothing they could do. All right, we're back. Sitting here with Brendan Eyre. Got some great comedy advice, talk some comedy, all kinds of stuff. Don't know you that well, like I said, so got a quick little segment here to try to get to know you a little better.
I love a segment.
Yeah, I got a couple segments for
This
you.
is fucking great.
Okay.
Also, am I allowed to say fuck on this podcast?
Oh, yeah.
I should have asked before I said fuck.
I think
12
I've said
times.
it twice already.
All right,
so
great.
You're good.
I love this. This is a fucking great podcast.
This is a fucking great segment,
Yeah.
too. Here we go. It's called That's My Favorite. So I was throwing some things out. Let me know what your favorite is. Maybe we'll have it in common. Maybe we won't, but it's
Okay.
fine.
All right.
Your favorite sandwich?
Jesus.
That's a tough
come
one.
with the hard hitting.
It's a tough one right off the
because
bat.
I'm a big sandwich
I
guy.
know.
I like a lot of sandwiches. I'd have to say, like, that changes depending on the mood, but, like, I think a good Italian sub, like, overall would be my favorite.
Okay, that's a
And
good
here's
pick.
a fucked up thing, and I got a real problem with it. So I live in Maine now, and they're weird. They're weirdos. Great people, but fucking weirdos. And they got a thing going up there, which blows my mind. Which you know how like depending on where you are, they might call that type of sandwich like a sub or a grinder or a hoagie. You know what I mean? Like a long sandwich has different names.
Yeah.
Well, in Maine, they just call that an Italian, which is so wrong. Because an Italian has to do with the kinds of meats, yeah. And so in Maine, they'll be like, "Can I have a ham and Swiss Italian?" And you're like, "That's not." It's crazy. And they cut the bread the wrong way. They cut the bread like a hot dog bun, and put the fucking meat in like that.
Like Subway style?
No, because Subway, you're still vertical. I mean, they do close it.
They
in
cut
Maine,
it
they
down
cut
the
it
top?
down the top.
That's insane.
It's insane. They're running wild there. There's no rules in there.
That is uncalled for. And
think
it's just
it's
always
so-
been like that.
I think it's so remote that like no one taught them about sandwiches.
Next time you go to a place and they do that, just be like, no, this
No,
is
they
all
won't.
wrong.
They're so proud about their Maine, and I don't want to shit on Maine because we live there now, and I do love Maine, but they're very proud of their like idiosyncrasies. So like they would defend that as if it's the better way, and you go, this is the
So
dumbest
confusing.
way I've ever. It's insane.
Yeah. Huh. Well, that was a good pick and some very interesting things
What's your
about Maine.
favorite sandwich?
Oh man, I don't even know if I've thought of this myself. I like a good meatball.
Oh, great.
Would they say meatball Italian?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's just
it doesn't make any
no.
sense.
And Subway, I don't go anymore. It's kind of went down like 10 pegs in my book.
Really?
Have you gone lately?
I'll go to a Subway. I mean, it's not my favorite. I'll go to a Subway.
Heyday was $5 footlongs.
Sure. of
And
course.
now you go, it's like $14 and it's not very good.
I was always frustrated when they let go of Jared. That's when I was out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't that's a hot take, but
It's controversial.
yeah. Favorite sport?
Favorite sport sport I was best at was soccer. I was a pretty competitive soccer player. Favorite sport to watch is NFL football.
Okay.
But I will pretty much watch any sport. Like, favorite sport to take a nap to, golf.
Yeah.
I like a golf nap. But yeah, my favorite watching sport is NFL football. Yeah, what's your favorite sport?
To play basketball, to watch probably NFL.
Yeah. Although the NBA puts out a great product.
It's a good time for
nowadays. I mean,
sports right now.
yeah.
The playoffs have been good.
Yeah,
NBA playoffs.
Yeah, it's been rough for me, but to be fair, I got a hand because I'm a Cleveland guy. Cavs got
Yeah.
beat up pretty good as the 1 seed, but you know what? I got to hand it to Indy, dude. They're a tough, good team.
Yeah.
I kind of think they're going to go to the finals. Like,
They definitely could, man. This year
Yeah.
it seems like it could be anybody. Like
And-
Tatum's hurt.
Yeah.
So
well,
they're
that's the thing.
and then-
And I'm not making excuses for the Cavs, but kind of everyone's banged up. The Knicks are banged up. Boston's banged up. We were banged up, and Indy's not really.
Yeah.
They're pretty deep and healthy. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
Favorite band or musician in the building? I'd say Ludo, but overall,
probably like right now, there's a rap group called Run the Jewels that I really
Okay,
like.
I like them.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I like this dude Sturgill Simpson. You ever heard of him?
yeah.
I like him a lot. Ever, all time. That's hard. I listen to
These are
a
tough
lot of
tough
different
questions.
music. Maybe Eminem. Maybe Led Zeppelin. I don't know. But
Both good picks.
yeah, I listen. I basically listen to rap, like good classic rock, and then like outlaw country type stuff. Those are my three
Okay.
big genres.
Cool.
What about you?
Favorite ever? I would probably say Metallica,
Okay.
but I like all of those.
Yeah.
Mostly rock. I listen to some rap, and then a little country here or there. But I'd say I mostly listen to rock more than.
Yeah, it's
Other
weird.
things.
I've never been a guy that just has a clear cut, like Sean, who bartends.
Oh,
and
yeah.
great comic here at Westport. Like within a millisecond, he'd say U2.
Yep.
He knows it. And I've never had that like clear cut. This is by far and away my favorite.
Yeah.
I've always kind of had a variety of guys I
Go
like.
through phases and
I
stuff
like
too. Yeah.
in terms of like interesting personalities. I'm a huge DMX fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll tell you why. Because like he was in an era first of all, I like his music, but also he was in an era where like everything was about like, you had like Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, Tupac, and a lot of it was about selling drugs and guns and pussy and like their crews. And then you had DMX, and it was just about robbing people with his dog. He didn't have a weapon. He would just use a pit bull, and then about how his only friends were dogs, and then also he kind of thinks he's a dog.
Yeah.
He barks and growls.
He's got a good bark.
Yeah.
Like, it's
and
a convincing
so, like,
bark.
I kind of always loved this man who is just like, I think I'm half dog. Like I was always drawn to the craziness of DMX.
I like him too. I got a DMX joke I've been trying to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, it works like half the time because like some of the crowd's too young and some's too old. If there was like a pocket of age that would like know who he is.
Right.
So, but DMX is great. How about favorite SNL cast member?
So I never had a phase where I was a big SNL guy.
Okay.
Like I always respected and liked SNL. But there was never a time in my life where I was like a regular
Like
SNL
watching it steady.
watcher,
I got you.
know?
Okay.
I guess I would have to say Farley. To me, he's so fucking funny.
Yeah, he's
like,
great.
But trying to think who else. I mean, I'm a huge Bill Murray fan, so like back those very early, like. But I guess I wasn't not like a super huge fan of his SNL work. Yeah, I was never like a hardcore SNL guy.
Okay.
I think right now, like from the clips I see, I think Colin Jost and Michael Che have like hit a stride on.
They're doing a
Weekend
good job,
Update
yeah.
That's like really fantastic, and
Yeah.
their vibe is great. Che was like, it's funny because like some guys you see as like a slow burn, and then like I guess I've been around long enough now to have seen a few guys where like kind of everyone knew they were going to be famous. And like there was a brief time when I first got to New York where Che was still doing like the bar shows and the open mics. Like he was kind of at the tail end of that very short part of his career. And it was crazy. Like everyone knew, like just his presence, like you knew he was going to be famous. Like
wow.
it was like, oh yeah, like he has it. Like whatever Pete Davidson was a little bit the same way, where there's just a presence to certain people where you're like, oh, this is going to work on TV. This is going to work on like whatever. Not to say he didn't have to work on his jokes or anything like that, but like kind of everyone knew like, oh yeah, that guy's going to be big. No question.
Yeah, that had to be cool. And even like seeing people pop in and just being able to see some of the biggest, comedians ever too.
Yeah.
Like just when we were there, went to the Cellar and Attell closed, and I was like, this is great. Like I wanted to see him somewhere. I've seen him a lot around here too, but he's one of my favorites.
Well, there was a lineup. I wish I could remember, but there was a lineup when everyone was in town. Somebody was telling me about it. There's a lineup at the Cellar when everyone in town was in town for the SNL 50th.
Oh.
And so there was a show, and you just fucking random tourists paying $15, and the lineup was like Steve Martin, Chappelle, Chris Rock, Sandler, some other like giant who I can't even remember. A Will Ferrell. Like there was just a lineup that was insane, like literally
that's crazy.
like the who's who of comedy, and you just paid $15 and that's who was on the lineup.
Man, that'd be awesome. I mean, I've gotten lucky on a few shows like that, but you just never know, I guess. Like some shows
Martin Short I think was there.
Yeah.
Like I mean just
there was so many people in town for that, so I'm
Yeah,
sure it was just a murderer's row. That's awesome, man.
Seinfeld was on it.
Okay.
I think Seinfeld was on it. Yeah, just like the guy told me, I was like,
That's
that
crazy.
has
yeah.
to be maybe the hardest hitting, at least the most famous lineup
Yeah.
ever on a showcase show. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, because usually be a mixed bag, and then
usually some of the like Steve Martin. When has that guy ever done a showcase? Like that's a
Yeah.
you know he does arena or did you know
Yeah.
like some of those guys like they just don't do that. You know?
yeah, that's crazy, man. Last one here for you. Favorite Keanu Reeves movie?
Oh, dude, Point Break. But
Okay.
with all due respect to him, I'm a huge Keanu fan. So, dude, The Matrix obviously up there.
Yeah.
And then John Wick. I love the first John Wick. But growing up, I grew up at a time when like Point Break was on like TBS like every day. And so, like, I would just, like, I just fucking, I thought it was the greatest movie ever.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I've rewatched it, and I still love it. It doesn't hold up maybe as much as, like, an 8th grader would love it, but I gotta say it is my favorite. What's yours?
Mine is The Matrix, probably.
Yeah,
I love all the
Matrix, so good.
I love the John Wick stuff
Yeah.
too. He's only had a couple misses probably ever. I feel like.
It's weird to me, like, and I feel like this is we've sort of moved past this, but it was always weird to me how both Keanu Reeves and Nicolas Cage had sort of like these reputations as sort of like shitty actors. That was always so weird to me because I was like, okay, like I can see that they're acting, and Nicolas Cage lately has like been doing some heavy acting, but it's like, all right, maybe I can see that their acting is not like De Niro or Daniel Day-Lewis. Like I understand
Yeah,
that,
but still
like,
good.
And not only that, like they've told like so many amazing, great fucking story in their
Yeah.
movie. Like how can we be mad at that? You know, like
Yeah.
you know, like it's always weird to me where people like judge that shit. Where I'm like, yeah, you try acting. It's fucking hard,
Yeah.
man. I can't act for shit.
Yeah, and if it's a good movie, like who gives a fuck?
Who cares? Yeah, right.
Like if you ever, I just watched it recently, Leaving Las Vegas. You ever
Yeah.
see that?
So good.
It's a good movie.
Fucking great movie.
Yeah, I like Nick Cage too.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. And then that one that was kind of like meta of like
yeah.
that
Right.
newer
that
one.
was great.
I like that too with
Yeah.
Pedro. What's
Yeah,
his name?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. All right, man. Well, that was the segment. That's
Great
my
segment.
favorite.
Great
Nailed
segment.
it.
We killed it.
Killed it. Saw a couple things in your bio I wanted to ask you about. Said that you were blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I am. Unfortunately, because of the way my schedule is, I haven't done jiu-jitsu in like 5 years. I miss it badly. I love jiu-jitsu. It's very fun. But yeah, I got my blue belt under Diego Lopez, who's a black belt and an instructor, and also a very funny comedian. He doesn't do as much stand-up anymore, but yeah, I will get back into jiu-jitsu at some point. Like it's a nice. I've been sober a long time, and I haven't been in a fight since I've been sober. Like turns out, I remember when I was drinking and young, like I just thought, oh yeah, like part of life you just get in fights kind of a lot. And then I got sober and realized like, oh, it's pretty easy to not get in a fight, you know? Like, but there is something comforting about like, you know, having trained MMA and jiu-jitsu, and I'm by no means good, you know, I'm just like have a little training under my belt, but there is something comforting about like walking around being able to be like, all right, I know a few things about like how to defend myself if something happened. And like, you know, obviously if someone stuck a gun in my face, I'm still fucked. But in general, like just having the average person has no training. So if you have a little bit of training in fighting, you're way ahead of the game in terms of like, I could defend myself, and that's a nice feeling. So
I have no training other than like Taekwondo when I was like
yeah,
5 years old,
yeah,
which I don't remember. So I have no training.
yeah.
But that's awesome, man. How far? Like, what is the belt thing? Like, how
So-
far away is blue from black?
Far.
Really?
It's far. Blue's only the second belt, but this
Okay.
is the thing about jiu-jitsu as opposed to like karate or taekwondo. Because jiu-jitsu is somewhat newer to the United States, and everyone can kind of trace their lineage of teachers, like back to kind of the founders of jiu-jitsu in one way or another. The Gracie brothers, the two older, the patriarchs of the Gracie family, like nobody wants to be seen as a teacher just giving out bullshit belts. So like you could find some, and I'm not saying all karate or taekwondo places are bullshit. A lot of them are great. But there are a lot of like you could find a strip mall karate place that would give you a black belt in a year, and like that's just not going to happen in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because they don't want the teachers don't want a guy out there representing their name with the black belt that's not deserved. So
That's cool.
so it takes a while to get your blue belt, and then so it goes blue, white, blue, purple, brown, black.
Okay. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
The other thing in the bio I wanted to ask about, it said your weight fluctuates wildly, but you're looking great.
I think that was an old bio. Still true. I'm always gaining or losing weight. Right now, I think I'm in a gaining period after losing a bunch. I'm a fucking piece of shit eater. Like, I've always been, because I was an athlete growing up, and I've always been a great exerciser. I love working out. But, like, they always say that thing, like, you can't outwork a bad diet. And I eat like a fucking idiot.
I do too, man. We're very much the same in that.
Yeah.
Like, I fluctuate quite a bit, and on Sunday, I was at my, I think, all-time heaviest, like tied for the heaviest. So this week I've lost like a few pounds, so just to bring it down a little.
Yeah, but
I don't wanna
if this
go-
is your heaviest, you're doing great.
Well, I don't know, man. I'm like a skinny fat. Like I eat like shit and got a gut, and it's just not good. So I got some workout equipment that I'm trying to set up and just trying to come down.
And that's
It's just,
the whole problem, because like working out, I love working out.
I hate working out.
See, I love it. I love any kind of like physical stuff, but the problem is like unless you're like Michael Phelps and like in the pool 9 hours a day, like you can do a good workout in the morning and fuck it up in one meal. You know what I mean? You can't burn enough calories, like, because like especially with the kind of food that's available, like, you know, you could go like I just eat junk food.
So
And,
do
like,
I, man.
so
It's tough.
I can have like a 8,000 calorie day, and it's like you're not gonna outwork that.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the fuck you do. Like it's a pretty simple like calories in versus calories out, and like you're not gonna outwork.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
tried doing that intermittent fasting thing for
Yeah.
a while, and that kind of works,
Yeah.
but I was still eating garbage food for
Yeah.
the eating window. So I was losing a little weight, but I was like, that's really my problem. I just need to eat better, start working out. But I'm like, for my regular job, I'm on the road all
Yeah.
day too. So what do you, I go like eat at a gas station or a fucking
Right. The same thing with
fast
comedy.
food. It's
like
same with comedy,
sometimes
too.
I
It's
don't
just
like
like-
to eat before the show, or I got shit going on before the show,
Yeah.
and then by the time the shows are over,
Eating it.
nothing
Yeah.
healthy's open. You
Uh-huh.
know, and it's it's weird because like what the fuck was I gonna say? I can't remember. I was gonna say
It's all good.
gonna
It's
be-
just
probably
a
gonna be good.
crapshoot, man. Like I'm trying to work on it, and we'll see what happens. But
Oh,
no
it's weird.
guarantees.
It's always weird to me. I guess the answer is that like evolution takes, hundreds of thousands of years. But like, what's weird to me is like, and I guess that's the answer is because like junk food is relatively new, but it's weird to me. Like, why doesn't my mouth like? Why haven't I evolved to like the things that are good for my
Yeah.
body? You know, like it's weird to me that like why are the things why doesn't my mouth crave like broccoli and a plain chicken breast?
I
You
know.
know, but I think it's just because like processed food and all that shit
Yeah.
is like relatively new. I imagine like if humans last long enough, evolution will make us like not enjoy the taste of that. But
There's just too many options, you
Yeah,
know. You've
yeah.
got a million different
Yeah,
options, and
yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm kind of a picky eater, and I even put it out as like a Facebook post one time. I was like, "Is there any healthy food that tastes good?" No responses.
yeah,
Like I'll
Well-
eat a few vegetables, and obviously fruit is good.
Yeah.
I like fruit, but I you can't name 3 vegetables that I
no,
like
and,
really.
and the people that do, you're like, no, that's not good.
Yeah.
Like people will be like, yeah, nice, nice.
Brussels sprout. I'm like,
roasted-
no.
roasted. Bake the broccoli with some nice seasoning. It's delicious. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Sucks. Yeah.
Fucking sucks. It's like give French fries. I like French fries.
Yeah.
I like pizza. But I had a shitty, just a pain of a travel day yesterday. Everything was delayed, and it was like a long travel day. Kind of got in, went right to the show, and I was like, all right. And this is the other thing: you're never supposed to like reward yourself with food. They say, and I was like, all right, I'm fucking getting emos tonight. Ate the whole fucking pizza, toasted ravioli, the whole deal. But whatever.
You're in St. Louis,
I
man.
know,
You gotta
I
gotta do it.
Gotta do it.
All right, got one more segment for you, and
Oh,
then we'll
fuck
wrap
yeah.
things up. It's called Overrated or Underrated.
Okay.
Just throw something out and let me know your opinion.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson. Overrated or underrated?
What's his rating? I don't know. Like, what are people?
He's in a lot of movies.
I know he's in a lot of
He's
movies.
in a
but,
lot, and he's got a good agent, I guess. But I think overall people like him.
Yeah, I
like him
And
too.
this
But is he
this
overrated?
Is not part of the segment. I think Samuel Jackson appropriately rated.
Appropriately rated.
Nobody's
Okay.
out there saying, "Look, this guy deserves all the Oscars," but nobody's really shitting on him.
That's true.
I think he's just like the working man's actor.
Yeah.
You need a guy, get Samuel L. Jackson. So I'm going to say he's right where he should be.
Properly rated. Okay.
Yeah.
Boneless chicken wings.
Don't care for him. Don't know what they're doing rating wise, but I would say overrated.
Yeah, I
because
would say that
either,
too.
if I'm in the mood for that, just give me some tenders.
Yeah.
If that's what I'm looking for, I'll take chicken tenders. If I want chicken wings, I want the bone.
I'm the same way. It's
Yeah.
just a little chunk of breast meat or whatever. It's not a wing.
Yeah.
Don't
yeah.
call it a wing. It's
yeah,
a chicken.
Don't call it a wing. Yeah, overrated.
chicken chunk.
Overrated.
Overrated. In the same family, I guess. Chick-fil-A.
So
overrated, underrated.
I don't go to a lot of. I used to be a huge fast food guy, but for whatever reason, I was never around. There wasn't ever a ton of Chick-fil-A's in Cleveland. I think Chick-fil-A is more everywhere now.
More popular now,
But they
yeah.
used to be a little bit more southern. So, but in my brief experience, just because I really like Popeyes, I found Chick-fil-A a little overrated.
I would agree with that.
But I don't have a ton of Chick-fil-A experience.
It's fine. Like when it
Yeah.
first came out or one was around, everybody was trying like, oh my God, it's so good. And it is fine, but I'm not going to wait in a line of 50 cars to get
Yeah.
it every time I want to,
Yeah.
pop through a driveway somewhere.
Yeah, that's crazy.
One more. Golf. Overrated or underrated? You said you like to take naps to it, but is it overrated or underrated?
That's a hard playing.
Do you play or no?
I used to play a decent amount. This would happen to me with golf. I was like decent at golf, and then when I was in New York, I just basically never played because it's like you got to drive out of the city. There's
Uh-huh.
no room in your apartment for clubs. Like it's a whole thing, and so I never played. And then I like would come home and play with my buddies, and I fully lost my game. Like, I don't know if it was mental or what. I'd hit everything on the ground. I would whiff shit. But I think golf, again, I know this is not super good for the segment. I think appropriately rated.
Okay.
I think golf, like, here's the thing that I really liked golf. Really liked golf. I would say golf was underrated back before I was sober and when I smoked cigarettes. Because when I was a young kid and I would just drive around a golf cart, chain smoking Marlboro Reds, drinking beers, that's a fucking
That's golf
that's a
right
great
there, yeah.
sport. That's a goddamn great
Yeah.
sport. Now that I no longer smoke and I don't drink, I still like golf, but rated right about where it should be.
Okay, appropriately rated. All right, that segment was overrated or underrated. We're going to take a quick break. Be right back with more Back of the Room. And we're back. Sitting here with Brendan Eyre. Appreciate you being here.
Oh, thanks.
Gonna
for
let
having
you get
me,
ready
man.
for your show coming up. I'm gonna hang out and check out the show.
Oh, cool, man. That's great.
Yeah, appreciate
Thanks
you
for
being
having
here.
me. Oh,
And
yeah, dude. This is fun.
yeah, for sure, man. Social media, where would people find you? All that kind of
follow
stuff.
Me, Eyrebud, EYREBUD on Instagram. That's the best place to follow me. Brendan Eyre, EYRE. You can look me up. There's videos out there. There's a recording of a full album on YouTube. And I'm going to be I don't know yet exactly when, but I'm going to be recording another special soon.
Nice.
So, yeah, just keep your eye out.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for doing it. Check out Brendan Eyre, everybody. Thanks for watching Back of the Room.
Thanks for having me.
Perfect applause there at the end.